The sole purpose of this video is to provide a basic overview and orientation of your new apparatus. This video is not intended to act as or replace individualized driver-operator training. Individual fire departments may base guidelines, policies, and procedures tailored for best practices. Pierce Manufacturing and Hughes Fire Equipment representatives are not liable for injuries caused from acts resulting from actions inconsistent with the information provided within this video and/or accompanying manuals. Refer to the Operation and Maintenance Manual for complete details relating to the components and features of this apparatus. Only trained personnel should operate this vehicle or perform maintenance. You are responsible for learning how to operate this fire apparatus under all conditions without having to refer to the manual while operating at an emergency incident. This video will discuss types of warnings and caution labels. It is your responsibility to locate and identify each of the labels and understand the importance and associated hazards. Warning labels will point out procedure that must be taken or action that must be avoided to guard against the possibility of serious injury or death. Caution labels will advise you that there is a risk of damage to property if certain precautions are not followed. Continuous training, reviewing of operation and service manuals, developing good standardized practices will assist driver operators with a more complete understanding of the components and operation of this fire apparatus. As the driver operator of this vehicle, you are responsible for understanding the function of each component of the apparatus, maintaining control of the fire apparatus at all times while in operation. Make operational and functional changes while operating at an emergency without having to read operator's instructions or safety warning labels. Operate manual override and emergency shutdown procedures immediately if a component fails to operate properly. Components location may vary with each Pierce fire apparatus. Review the exact location of each component prior to operation. Major inconsistencies between your vehicle and the information contained in this video should be directed to your sales representative. Safe operation of any vehicle is the responsibility of the driver operator. You must learn the location and function of all controls, switches, gauges, valves, inlets, and discharges. Due to a higher center of gravity, heavy trucks have a significantly higher rollover tendency than other types of vehicles. To reduce the risk of rollover, avoid making sharp turns, excessive speed, and avoid abrupt maneuvers. In the event of a rollover crash, an unbelted person is significantly more likely to become injured or die than a person wearing a seatbelt. In the event of a crash, unbuckled occupants can also become a hazard to other occupants, as they may be thrown around inside the cab. Seatbelts are required while in operation. Please refer to your warranty certificates for details and information enclosed in your manuals. Customer-installed equipment must be mounted to withstand road travel and comply with NFPA 1901. Modifications such as drilling holes or welding to structural frame components of the chassis are not permitted. Contact Pierce for instruction and review of non-structural sheet metal or other dissimilar metals for modification. Follow the radio installation guide for further assistance on installing or mounting electronics. Before placing your new apparatus into service, perform a primary inspection of key components of the apparatus, including all fluid levels, anti-lock braking systems, electronic stability control, and automatic traction control. Weigh your apparatus to ensure that it conforms to axle and brake ratings. Never exceed the gross axle rating printed on the label inside the cab. Exceeding these ratings could lead to reduced component life, personal injury, or death. Review the use of auxiliary braking systems, compression brake, exhaust brake, electronic retarder, and hydraulic retarder. Before placing the apparatus in service, refer to the operational maintenance manuals. Information on the operation and maintenance functions for the components such as the pump, pressure governor, and foam systems, along with other options, is provided in either the Pierce manuals and/or other manufacturer support information delivered with the apparatus. If you need more information, please contact Hughes Fire Equipment. Congratulations, Central Emergency Services Alaska, on your new Pierce fire apparatus, job number 34240. Please utilize this 5-digit job number when referencing your apparatus with Hughes Fire Equipment and Pierce Manufacturing. We'll get started on a brief orientation of your new apparatus. Starting on the face of the bumper, passenger and driver side, you'll find dual air horns recessed in the bumper face. Moving to the center, you'll find your mechanical siren. To the passenger side, you'll find a recessed speaker for your siren and PA speaker system. You'll also find the unit identifier 5 located on the face of the bumper. Moving up onto the cab face, you'll find emergency warning lights. Up from that location, you'll find headlight structure housing dual headlights, low beam and high beam. The high beam will be on the inside. Just up from that structure, you'll find emergency warning light and turn marker indicator. As we move just behind the bumper on the cab, you'll find an emergency warning light side facing, and then just up from that location, you'll find a clearance light. Let's go ahead and move around now to the driver's side where you'll find your door latches. These are accessible with a gloved hand, and they also have a key lock. Moving just to the side of that location at a point of entry, you'll find your grab handle. Moving down to the lower section in the step well, you'll find an air inlet. Moving up from that location, just above the front tire is where you'll find your auto eject shore power. Moving up to the very top of the roof, over the door, is where you'll find a side-facing floodlight. And then moving all the way to the rear section of the cab, you'll find an LED light indicating your water tank level. Let's move just under the front door where you'll find an access light or perimeter lighting. These are going to be located at all points of entry for personnel. As we move into the stepwell, you'll find an air inlet in the driver's space. As we move just inside to the door cab area, you'll find at the base of the seat, when plugged into shore power, your battery system will be active. As we move to the door, you'll find affixed to the door panel all of our safety and warning labels. You'll also find this placard manufactured by Pierce for your department, housing information here on job number, date of manufacture, gross vehicle weight rating, cold tire inflation, the VIN number, and all of the fluid and capacity types. Let's move now to about the left knee of the operator, where you'll find the silver quarter-turn master battery switch. Let's move just to the right where you'll find the green diagnostic port. As we move down further, you'll find a set of switches. These are going to be diagnostic switches along with engine regen and also inhibit switches. Let's move now up to, once again, left knee of the operator, and you'll find the interaxle differential lock. The light will illuminate when it has been engaged. As we move upward from that location, you'll find the ignition and start, and just inside of that location, you'll find a switch labeled EM, which stands for Emergency Master, which will engage all of your emergency lights or disengage. Also, you'll find your headlights and a panel rocker switch allowing you to brighten or dim the panel lights within the driver's preview. Let's move to the center dash cluster, where you'll find on the left your transmission temperature, oil pressure, DEF level, water temperature, and then to the right you'll find your volts, fuel level, front and rear air pressure. In the center you'll find your tachometer and speedometer. Diagnostic information will display above and below the speedometer. Let's move just to the right, where you'll find your pump shift. There are instructions from road to pump and also from pump to road. You need 2 green indicators indicating pump engaged and OK to pump for pump operations. As we move to the top, you'll find your OK to engage the high idle indicator and switch, and then to the right, you'll find your mirror controls. Moving further to the right, you'll find the pull to apply your system parking brake and push to release. Further to the right, you'll find a transmission pad. This is a push button style with a digital readout. As we move upward, you'll find some switches housing the high beam flash, selector switch between air horn and electric horn, siren horn, siren brake, load manager, and Opticom switch. Let's move further up from this location, where you'll find on the side a push to apply windshield wiper fluid, and then also the control for windshield wiper speed. As we move to the top, you'll find your monitor for your reverse camera.
Moving further to the right, you'll find your climate control for heat and defrost. And then as we move further down, you'll find caution information here regarding disengaging your retarder when operating your vehicle on wet or slippery surfaces. Let's look overhead in the driver's space. First, overhead, you'll find push on and off lenses that are either white or red. As we move to the switch panel, you'll find on the left emergency master, roof light, front warning light, side warning light, lower rear warning, and upper rear warning. When any of these switches have been engaged, a light will illuminate in the designated switch. Let's move further to the right to the next switch panel, where you'll find starting on the left your front flood, your moose light, driver flood, passenger flood, rear flood, and perimeter lighting. Once again, when any of the switches have been engaged, the light will illuminate, designating that switch. Let's move further to the right, where you'll find your traffic advisor. Also located within the same area, you'll find dual fans, one for the driver's space and one for the officer space. Let's move toward the center, where you'll find directly overhead a illuminating light indicating do not move your apparatus when the light is on, indicating you have a door or compartment open. Moving just forward of that location, you'll find your siren control and PA speaker system. Overhead, push on and off red and white lens lights, and also speaker system. Let's move exterior now to the front wheel area, where you'll find in the center axle a sight gauge. Moving up from this location onto the body, directly above is your shoreline inlet. It is an auto eject plug. As we move to the rear cab, we'll find affixed to the door panel warning information, and also you'll find a red grab handle for gaining access in and out of the cab. Let's take a look at some of the contents inside the cab area, where you'll find an SCBA holder located just inside the door. As we move to the rear facing seat, you'll find a seat housing an SCBA bottle. And as we look overhead, once again, you'll find those push on and off red or white lens, your speaker, and then also your intercom system. Let's move to the rear of the engine, where you'll find a door panel accessing to the rear of the engine for your daily checks for oil and transmission. You'll also find on the far right-hand side in the image, this is a 12-volt access USB style. As we move to the compartment with netting, you'll find a switch at the very top section will illuminate lighting inside the cabinet, and also a shoreline plug inside. This will be active when plugged into shore power. Let's move now to the pump panel. We'll identify a few items in this area. First, let's start at the very bottom. Your pump panel is fully enclosed. You can see that there is a latch to gain access in the pump panel for service. You'll also find in the lower section a D handle, which gains access for hose storage. As we move to the left of the pump panel, you'll find your CAFS air outlet and also all your color-coded and associated drains. The red placard is the Watrous placard, indicating the capacity 1,500 GPM. We also have a warning label here regarding pressure hazard. Be cautious when opening caps, they may be under pressure. You'll also find your minimum operation maintenance schedule. That's the instructions regarding your check operations weekly, monthly. You'll also find the driver's side auxiliary inlet. This is a 2.5-inch female inlet. Just to the right, you'll find all your color-coded discharge drains. They are labeled, and then also a access panel to gain behind the pump panel. As we move to the right, you'll find your pump drain, and then just beneath that, you'll find your manual pump shift. Let's move upward from this location, and we'll identify a few more of the items within the pump area. First, starting in the very center, is the Pierce logo American flag eagle. This is your large diameter pump intake. Moving to the right, I've got a warning label here regarding foam failure. Do not mix different brands or consistencies of foam. You'll also find your auxiliary foam functions for foam inlet, strainer, and foam tank. Moving up to the very top, you'll find two 2.5-inch discharge. These are number 1 and number 3. As we move to the center, you'll find this warning label indicating only trained personnel should operate this piece of equipment, and only after they received proper training. You'll find your discharges for number 1, 2, and 3. As we move down, you'll find the 2 crosslays, crosslay 1 and crosslay 2. You'll also find the red indicating in the language. It is indicating for foam. As we look at each of the discharges that are foam capable, you'll also notify a blue label indicating foam/CAFS. Those are indicating CAFS that are also a possibility, with a switch just underneath that activating the CAFS system. As we move to the right, you'll find your placard regarding 150, 200, and 250 test pressures. And further to the right, you'll find in the blue module, this is your water level tank indicator. Let's take a look just down from this location. You'll find your large diameter passenger side discharge. Information in the center of the wheel is the ratio of open to close. You'll also find priming instructions labeled at the top for 1,000 RPMs for best practices while priming, and then also your push to prime just beneath that. Further to the right, your engine cooler, and then also your tank fill recirculating line and tank to pump. Let's move just up to the right-hand side where you'll find your gauge heater. It is thermostatically controlled. There is an on indicator and also a fault indicator. It is automatic. Moving up further, you'll find your red air horn push button. Let's go ahead and now talk about the blue module, which is going to be your CAFS system. The compressor capacity you can see is 140 CFM at 125 PSI. We do have instructions here regarding your CAFS system and warning information. To the right in the blue module is going to be your compressor. It is an on-off switch to the very top. As we move further down, you can select either manual control or auto control. As we move to the upper right-hand corner, you'll find your air pressure gauge indicating the air pressure. And as we move further down, you'll find an oil temperature gauge and also an oil temperature in a high alert indicating that it's red, and also an audible alarm. As we move to the center, you'll find your airflow, and then that's going to be a digital readout. And as we move just to the right in the black area, it might be difficult to see in this image, that is an audible alarm. The outer edge of that bezel does allow you to dampen the sound of that alarm. Let's go ahead and move now to the red module, which is going to be your foam system. At the very top, you'll find if on, it is the power button illuminating in green. To the right, if foam is dispensing, it will be illuminated and flashing. As we move further down, you'll find the red system on and off button. Moving further down, you'll find an orange. It is a page button allowing you to scroll through the various menu functions. Moving up to the top, you'll find your foam prime, which is yellow. And then also, if you choose to push the enter button, that'll allow you to scroll through the pages and utilize the enter function. Moving just down to the right, you'll find two up or down, that is increase or decrease, and those are the green buttons. Just to the right, you'll find the foam system level for your tank. That's going to be level A, and it goes in quarter increments from full, 3/4, half, quarter, and refill, which would be red flashing. Let's move just to the right into the gray module. This is your pressure throttle governor. If illuminating, it would be yellow in color is the check engine light. Moving just to the right, you'll find a digital readout for the RPM. And then moving further to the right in the upper right-hand corner, you'll find if illuminated, it would be red. It is a stop engine light. As we move down, you'll find the orange menu button. This will allow you to scroll through the various functions of your pressure throttle governor. Located in the very center, you'll find engine diagnostic information. And then to the right, you'll find a silence button, which is red, allowing you to silence any audible alarms. As we move down, you have two functions, either pressure mode or RPM mode. Those are the two buttons on the left. Once it's been activated, it will illuminate, indicating what you've selected. In the very center, you'll find a digital readout. Moving to the right, you'll find a throttle ready, which is a green indicator. And then just beneath that throttle ready is where you'll find the preset button. This allows you to preset pressure or RPM. As we move further down, you'll find the throttle, right to increase, left to decrease, push in the center to move to the idle position. You'll also find an audible alarm just to the right in the gray area. Once again, the outer edge of that bezel does allow you to dampen the sound. Let's move just to the right where you'll find some panel switches. We'll start at the very top. You'll find the panel light, which illuminates the entire panel. You'll also find when you've exited the cab and you've placed your pump into pump mode, you'll find this indicator indicating OK to pump. You'll also find some floodlight information, driver side flood, passenger side flood, and also a pump compartment heater. Let's move now up to the very top to your master intake gauge. It's on the left-hand side. As we move to the right, you'll find your master discharge gauge, and in between the two of those is the test gauge ports for vacuum and pressure. Those are currently plugged and for testing purposes. Let's move just to the right where you'll find a placard housing information regarding your foam system instructions and also the specifications of your Husky 12 foam system. As we move to the crosslay 1, 2, and a 2.5 inch crosslay, all of these are foam capable. As we move up to the top, just above the pump panel, you'll find grab handles. These are for gaining access going aloft. You'll also find fold down steps on the right hand side vertical. Let's go ahead and take a look now at the body. We'll identify a few items here. We'll first start at the very first compartment past the pump panel. In the bottom section, you'll find a toolbox. You'll also find adjustable shelving and LED lighting in each of the compartments. As we move inside the compartment, you can see the very top section has the lever. It also has a grab chain which is coded for ease of access. You'll also find the fill location for your DEF. It is the blue cap. You do have tandem axles. We have Michelin tires, steel wheels. Moving now in between the two of those axles, you'll find SCBA bottle storage. You'll find there are 4 locations here. As we move to the very top, you'll find side-facing floodlights, and you'll also find your access release mechanism for your hard suction hose. Moving toward the rear, same thing. You'll find the release mechanism for your hard suction hose, side-facing floodlight, and then also an emergency warning light. As we move down to the very bottom of the compartment, you'll find wheel chock storage for your folding wheel chocks, and then you'll also find your ultra low sulfur diesel fill location, which is the silver cap. Underneath, once again, these are your folding wheel chocks. As we move up into the compartment, LED lighting, and let's go ahead and move around now to the rear of the apparatus. Just a general view, let's start just under the rear tailboard, starting first with, at the very bottom, all of your perimeter lighting. Moving up to the left and right side, you'll find your tail lights. Starting at the top, we have an emergency warning light, stop light, turn, and a reverse light. Up on the driver's side, you'll find work lights and then also scene light switching. As we move upward from this location, you'll find your foldable porta-tank located behind the D-handle pan door. As we move to the very top, you'll find your 10-foot folding attic ladder. Let's move back down to the very center area where you'll find additional storage location, lift and turn latch, and then also right and left side frame rail tow hooks. Let's move up from this location where you'll find your rear dump chute. It does swivel left to right and also extends just to the outer edge of the body. At the very top section, you'll find the red release handle, gaining you access to the open and close valve. From this location, let's move upward and slightly to the left where we'll find a warning and also a rear discharge. The warning label is caps may be under pressure. Be cautious when opening them. In the very center, you'll find your LED water level tank indicator. As we move to the right, you'll find a large diameter discharge. Moving further to the right, you'll find a 2.5-inch direct tank fill. Moving further to the right, we have some safety warning information. 1, entanglement hazard. Be cautious because of those hoses coming from aloft. There is the possibility of entanglement. And then also a fall hazard and warning information that you shouldn't ride on or climb on the rear of the apparatus. As we move down, you'll find the chute. This is the extension. You can see it's got a grab handle allowing it to steal out to the outer edge. As we move to the center, you'll find your traffic advisor. Just above that, you'll find a rear-facing floodlight. And at the very top, you'll find a recessed camera with a display inside the cab. As we move to the left and right, you'll find emergency warning lights, and then also on the left is your ladder to gain access to the top of the vehicle. Let's take a look at the passenger side of the vehicle. Moving now, we'll start at the very rear compartment. As we move inside the compartment, just as a reminder, we do have LED lighting and also adjustable shelving. These compartments are also ventilated. As we move just forward of this location, you'll find a single bottle SCBA door. Moving now to the tandem axle, you'll find just above the tandem axle, you'll find SCBA bottle storage locations for 3 additional SCBA bottles. You'll also find a drop-down door. Moving just to the front of the front axle, you'll find this warning label regarding extremely hot diesel exhaust temperatures. Be cautious as to where you park your vehicle, specifically the tailpipe. As we move just under the front axle is where you'll find your tire chains. Moving now to the front compartment, you'll find a pull-out tray at the bottom section. The release mechanism is on the lower right-hand side, adjustable shelf, and also LED lighting. Let's move just above all of the compartments and where you'll find your 24-foot ground ladder and 14-foot roof ladder. You'll also find at the very top pike pole storage location. Let's move now to the pump panel area. We'll start down at the very base of the pump panel. Once again, your pump panel is fully enclosed. This is your access location. Moving from this location just above, you'll find on the perimeter lighting in the pump area. And then as we move to the very top section, you'll find a D handle will gain access into the tub hose storage area. Inside that area, you'll find dry deck material. Moving further up onto the pump panel, we'll identify a few items within this area, first starting on the left with all of your color-coded and labeled discharge drains. Moving from this location, you'll find your 2.5-inch auxiliary inlet. This is for the passenger side and is a female inlet. And then moving to the right, you'll find an access door for gaining access behind the pump panel. Moving now up to the top, you'll find the Pierce logo American flag eagle. This is your large diameter passenger side inlet. We also have that warning label here regarding pressure hazard. Moving just to the right, you'll find your passenger side auxiliary discharge. Moving further to the right, you'll find a 2.5-inch discharge. And then at the very upper right corner, you'll find a 2.5-inch strainer. Let's take a look at some close-ups of the items we just talked about. First, starting out in the lower left, these are all of your color-coded discharge drains. Moving just up from that location, the Pierce American flag eagle large diameter pump inlet. Moving just to the right, this is the 2.5-inch auxiliary inlet, passenger side. Moving further to the right, you'll find your large diameter discharge and also a 2.5-inch discharge. Just underneath that 2.5-inch discharge is where you'll find the access door to gain access behind the pump panel. As we move to the right, you'll find your flush valve drain and also your water strainer drain. Just above this location is where the 2.5-inch water strainer is located, directly behind the cap. Let's move up and to the right, where you'll find your powered equipment rack. There are danger information here regarding the possibility of injury. There's also instructions here to raise and also to lower. The master switch gains access with a green indicator that you've powered the switch on, and then to the right you'll find the lift either up or down switch. Let's move just to the right into the white module area. This is going to be your cab lift. We do have some caution and danger information here also. We have also instructions for to raise cab and to lower. We do have a protected raise and lower switch. And then to the right, you'll find your cab activate switch, which will activate in whichever position the dead man switch to the left is located in. Once again, instructions to raise and to lower. Make sure all items are secure within inside the cab. As we move to the cross lays, you'll find the number 1 and number 2 cross lay and also that 2.5-inch. As we move to the cab, we'll also go just inside the cab in the rear section, where you'll find on the very corner of the post, you'll find your grab handle for gaining access in and out of the cab. As we move to the very top section, you'll find your SCBA bottle rear facing on the passenger and driver side. Looking overhead, you'll find your push on and off red and white lights, stereo system, and intercom system. As we move to the door panel, you'll find all of our safety information affixed to the panel. As we move just inside of that location on the A-pillar is where you'll find the fill location for your windshield wiper fluid. Let's move to the seat. You will find comfort controls just located in the very front area. As we move just up from this location, the back of the seat is housed with an SCBA quick release. As we move back down to the A-pillar, you'll find the fill location for your windshield wiper fluid. You'll also find these candy cane style labels throughout the cab. These are indicating you have a loose wire. It's indicating the type of wire and also its identifier. As we move overhead of the officer's position, you'll find your Firecom headset system. On the lower section, that is your wireless system. The upper portion is the control module. You'll also find your stereo system, and also in the very center, you'll find your seatbelt information, red indicating someone is in the seat, green indicating someone is in the seat and belted. Moving to the forward section, you'll find 12-volt access via barrel style and also USB. And also you'll find your controls for your air horn, mechanical siren, and also a siren brake. Congratulations, Central Emergency Services Alaska, on your new Pierce fire apparatus, job number 34240. If you have any questions regarding your apparatus, please contact your Hughes Fire sales representative. Thank you and congratulations.